Okay, Omar, let's start with the quarterback position. In less than 24 hours, you signed Russell Wilson, trade Kenny Pickett, you acquired Justin Fields. What was that whirlwind like for you?
It was really all of free agency during this time of year. Things get a little hectic and crazy, and I like where we ended up. We ended up with Russell and Justin. We signed Patrick Queen. We had a good few days there. I think we're better.
You talked about having a good visit with Russell Wilson when you talked to the assembled media. What does that mean exactly? What is a good visit?
He came in that weekend. We spent a whole day with him, got to know him. He got to know us, talked a lot of ball, and just felt right. I'm not going to speak for him, but I think he'll tell you the same thing, that just felt right. Felt like it was a good match.
There are always rumors going on in the offseason, as I'm sure you're well aware of, what you might or might not be doing. Reports that you talked to Chicago prior to the Fields trade. Did that make it easier, if that report is true, to kind of culminate that trade when it happened?
We always try to stay abreast of everything that's going on league-wide. Obviously not everything makes sense for us, but when we decided to make the trade for Kenny with the Eagles, the opportunity was still there to trade for Justin, and I'm feel fortunate that it worked out.
Last thing on that position, you feel better about your quarterback room right now as you head into this season?
I do feel really good about it. Feel great about where we're at, and I think having Arthur Smith around is really awesome also, and I think he'll be great for those guys.
You mentioned Patrick Queen. What was significant for you that made you decide, hey, this is a guy we have to pick up?
Really a good football player. There was an opportunity. He was interested in us. We were obviously interested in him. We've gotten to know him over the 4 years he's played in Baltimore. We played him twice a year. Knew him coming out of college, the strong character and the person he is, and obviously a talented player, and he's still young. And it was one of those things where we were interested, and he was interested in us, and we were able to put a deal together that made sense.
You made a couple of trades. You talked about him earlier at the quarterback position. You also made a trade sending Deontay Johnson, getting Dante Jackson back. What was the impetus for that trade? So,
corner was a need position. And Dante, somebody that we got to know well through the draft process, and he was a free agent a few years ago, and really followed his game, played him a couple times, and the opportunity was there. They were interested in trading him, and it just felt like it was a win-win for both sides, and we're excited to have him. I think he's going to be a good fit for us.
Sometimes when you add somewhere, it creates maybe a hole somewhere else. You were able to add a couple of wide receivers. Is that still a position you're looking to add to?
Yeah, Rob, I'd say we're always trying to add to every position. I'd say it's a position that we'll continue to evaluate.
You got DeShaun Elliott at the safety position. Yeah. How do you feel about that signing?
Awesome. I mean, he's a little bit of a throwback, I guess, strong safety. 10 years ago, we'd probably be talking about him a little differently than where the game is today. But he fits our defense perfectly, I think. And you guys have seen the clips of him tackling the new running back in Baltimore that we're going to be facing a couple times a year. He's an awesome player, but just think he's a good fit. He's going to fit well into our defense.
So you added Cameron Johnson in the punting game. That's an upgrade statistically. You bring Miles Killebrew back. Sometimes an overlooked aspect of a team for fans, but obviously important for you enough to make some moves.
We've all addressed the fact that our punting game has to be better than what it was, and Cam was free, and we had an opportunity that he was interested in us. We were interested in him. He lives up in Columbus down the road, and we really leaned on our analytics team heavily on the decision to help identify the guys that would be right for us, and we're just fortunate we got him.
What do you think are the strengths of this year's draft as you head into the draft?
It's really a good draft. I mentioned this in Indy, and I can tell you, just being going through the pro days over the last couple weeks and having some preliminary draft meetings, you get more and more excited about this draft. It's some good football players. I think the receiver position's deep. You look at the offensive line. The tight end position's got some good players. Defensively, the corner position's got a lot of fun corners that are going to be out there. The safeties. This is a really good safety draft. But it's just a good draft. I'm excited about it.
In total, knowing that guys can sign late. You signed Quan Alexander very late last year. Knowing that the draft isn't the end of the line, knowing there's time between now and the draft, how do you feel about where the team is now?
There's a lot of time between now and Latrobe. I like where we're at. That's not to say we're not going to keep trying to find ways to improve in all areas. But I like where the team's at. I feel like we got some really good core guys coming back, and we've added some pieces to that, and but we're not done. You know, there's a lot of time between now and Latrobe, and a lot of time between now and the start of the season.
Omar, thanks for the time.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.